Given to Rust, a poem by V.V. Francis. V.V. Francis is an associate professor of English at Dartmouth College and has received the Kingsley Tufts Poetry Award. In Given to Rust, a poem by V.V. Francis, the poet explores their relationship with their own voice and how it has been affected by the passage of time and the events of their life. The poem uses vivid imagery and figurative language to examine this theme and offer insight into the concept of time. Our main objective in this video is to analyze this poem. To analyze a poem, it can be helpful to start by considering the following questions before reading it. 1. What is the poem's theme or main idea? 2. What is the tone of the poem? Is it happy, sad, serious, etc.? 3. What is the structure of the poem? Does it have a regular rhyme scheme or meter? 4. What literary devices does the poet use? Examples might include figurative language, imagery, or symbolism. 5. How do the poem's form and content contribute to its overall meaning? Let's start by reading the poem to analyze it. Every time I open my mouth, my teeth reveal more than I mean to. I can't stop tonguing them, my teeth. Almost giddy to know they're still there, my mother lost hers. But I am embarrassed nonetheless that even they aren't pretty. Still, I did once like my voice, the way it moved through the gap in my teeth like birdsong in the morning, like the slow swirl of a creek at dusk. Just yesterday, a woman closed her eyes as I read aloud and said she wanted to sleep in the sound of it, my voice. I can still sing some. Early cancer didn't stop the compulsion to sing, but there's gravel now, an undercurrent that also reveals me, time and disaster, the heavy landslide down the mountain. When you stopped speaking to me, what you really wanted was for me to stop speaking to you, to stifle the sound of my voice. I know, didn't want the quicksilver of it in your ear. What does it mean? To silence another. It means I ruminate on the hit of rain against the tin roof of childhood, how I could listen all day until the water rusted its way in. And there I was putting a pan over here and a pot over there to catch it. To analyze a poem, you need to paraphrase it. Now I will be sharing with you a possible paraphrasing for this poem. This poem seems to be about the speaker's relationship to their voice and their teeth. The speaker is self-conscious about their teeth and how they look, but they also have a sense of pride in their voice and the way it sounds. The speaker mentions that they used to like their voice and that someone else enjoyed listening to it, but that their voice has been affected by cancer and now has a gravel quality to it. The poem also touches on the theme of silence and how it can be used as a form of control or punishment. The speaker mentions that the other person in the poem stopped speaking to them and wanted them to stifle the sound of their voice. The speaker reflects on what it means to silence someone and how it can be damaging. The poem uses imagery and figurative language to convey its themes and ideas. For example, the speaker compares their voice to birdsong in the morning and the slow swirl of a creek at dusk. The use of imagery helps the reader to better understand and relate to the speaker's experiences and emotions. Overall, the poem seems to be about the importance of having a voice and being able to express oneself, and the ways in which others can try to silence or control that expression. It also touches on themes of self-consciousness and the impact of illness on the body and one's sense of self. Let's examine the figurative devices in this poem. Do you know what they are? 1. Literary devices are techniques used by writers to enhance their writing and give it deeper meaning or to help the reader understand and connect with the writing on a deeper level. Here are a few examples of common literary devices. 1. Symbolism. The use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. 2. Imagery. The use of descriptive language to create vivid images in the reader's mind. 3. Metaphor. A comparison between two things using the words like or as. 4. Simile. A comparison between two things using the words like or as personification, giving human characteristics to non-human objects or ideas. 5. Alliteration. The repetition of the same sound at the beginning of multiple words in a phrase or line of poetry. 6. onomatopoeia, the use of words that mimic the sound they describe. There are many other literary devices that writers can use in their work, and different devices can be combined to create more complex and nuanced writing. One possible metaphor in this poem is the comparison of the speaker's voice to birdsong in the morning and the slow swirl of a creek at dusk. This metaphor suggests that the speaker's voice is pleasant and soothing, like the natural sounds of birds and water. Another possible metaphor in the poem is the comparison of the speaker's voice to gravel and quicksilver. These metaphors suggest that the speaker's voice is rough around the edges, but also fluid and changeable. The metaphor of gravel could also imply that the speaker's voice has been damaged or changed by something, possibly the early cancer mentioned in the poem. A simile is a figure of speech that compares two things using the words like or as. In this poem, there are two similes. Like birdsong in the morning, like the slow swirl of a creek at dusk. These similes compare the speaker's voice to pleasant and soothing sounds, suggesting that the speaker's voice is also pleasant and soothing. What is free verse? Free verse is a type of poetry that does not follow a regular rhyme scheme or metrical, syllable pattern. It is called free because it is not bound by traditional rules of verse, and the poet has the freedom to choose the form and structure of the poem. Free verse poetry can use rhyme, but it is not required. The poet may also use other techniques, such as enjambment, carrying the sense of a line over to the next line, or caesura, a pause within a line, to create rhythm and structure in the poem. Free verse is a relatively modern form of poetry and was popularized in the 20th century by poets such as Walt Whitman and T.S. Eliot. It is often associated with the idea of organic form, in which the structure of the poem grows naturally out of the content, rather than being imposed on it. I hope this helped you to analyze the poem. Thank you.